Hey, James, welcome back to the channel. So glad you could be here. Sorry it's been a while, but I'm going to talk today about centering prayer. And I want to borrow from the book Open Mind, Open Heart by Thomas Keating. I'm not going to read this whole section. There's an entire chapter summarizing the centering prayer method. And but I am going to read a couple quotes to kind of help explain what it is. He says, during the time of prayer, one can sense to God's presence within. At other times, one's attention moves outward to discover God's presence everywhere else. Centering prayer is not done for the sake of having a particular spiritual experience, but for the sake of its transforming effects in one's life. And then he goes on to explain what contemplation is. He says, contemplation as the intuitive knowledge and love of God is not so much a gift as a given. He says the method of centering prayer is designed to detach us from the ordinary flow of thoughts that reinforces our habitual way of thinking of ourselves and looking at the world. So I want you to, and he uses the example of a radio, that if you are used to long wave channels, he says, if you want to hear stations from far away, then you have to turn to the other wavelength. In the same fashion, you have to let go of your ordinary thinking and emotional patterns. You open yourself up to a new world of reality. So it's literally like if a radio station moved from 92 FM to 101 FM. You're learning how to operate at a higher frequency. And he uses a great example of when you close your eyes and try to imagine that you are, I need to set this down. Try to imagine that you're sitting on a riverbank and there's a boat with a box inside of it, and that box is supposed to represent your thoughts. So as you're trying to get centered, you close your eyes, you breathe in, you breathe out, and a thought will pop in your head. You could give that thought some attention, you could give it energy, but instead you let it go on by. You just let the boat float on by. You focus on one word. And when you have that thought pop in your head, let it go down the river and then return back to that one word, whether it's hope or love or joy or peace. And you silently say that word. And then you start back up again and you breathe in and you breathe out. A little bit slower than that, obviously, and then if another thought were to pop in your head, instead of giving it attention, instead of giving it focus, you just let it go on by. A lot of our time during the day, we have all these thoughts popping in and out of our head. We don't need to give every single one of them attention. Some of them you just have to let float on by. You have to let go. And for me, this has been so helpful. Full disclosure, I do have PTSD. And if I think about something or if something reminds me of something that happened, then I can choose to give that thought attention, or I can just let it float on by. And that's what I choose to do during the day. So I'm using the things that I'm learning even during the day when I'm not doing centering prayer to help me throughout the day. And he says, Thomas Keating says this, centering prayer is a method of directing your attention from the particular to the general, from the concrete to the formless. At first you are preoccupied by the particular boats, and he has that word in quotes, that are going by. You become interested in seeing what is on them, or you just let them all go by. If you notice that you're becoming interested in them, return to the sacred word as the gift of your whole being to God present within you. So I think what I'll do for the next video, he talks about the 5 types of thoughts. I'll cover that in the next video. But just to sit for 20 minutes twice a day and I like to have some background music playing, some like soothing music. They don't necessarily suggest that, but that's something that I do. And just to close your eyes and to breathe in. And just slowly breathe out. And if I had a thought pop in my head in the last few moments, I just go back. I really like focusing on the word peace. And I'll just say it to myself, peace. I won't say it out loud, but I'll say it to myself. I'm doing it out loud for demonstration purposes. And then start over again. You breathe in and then slowly breathe out. And if sometime in the middle of that, a thought pops in my head, I just let that boat float on by. Just let it go. Just because a thought pops in your head doesn't mean it's healthy. Just because a thought pops in your head, it doesn't mean it deserves your attention. And what centering prayer ultimately does is it helps you to get ready for contemplative prayer. And its main purpose isn't to learn how to be more peaceful. Its main purpose isn't to help you deal with stress. Its main purpose is to help you to focus more of what God is doing in your life. And if you're a Christian, the Holy Spirit lives inside of you. So we want to focus on what God is doing in our life and less on the distractions of the world. Now, I also do it because it does help me with stress. It does help me with focus. It does help me to get rid of unhealthy thoughts. Because if you dwell on those unhealthy thoughts, it's going to impact your life in a negative way. So, I hope that helps. I've only been doing this now for a couple months, and I do believe it's going to be, I'm looking forward to what God is doing in my life in 2026. I really believe that if we as Christians would truly seek God and want to be in God's presence more often, then I think we would reflect the love and grace of God to other people more. I had somebody on Sunday morning, I can't tell you where because it's related to my job, but this person was very antagonistic and very angry. And I just refused to argue with this person. And after it was all over, I was telling somebody, I was amazed and I was very happy with the fact that I didn't react to their anger. And I think that's just a sign of growth. It's because I have been doing the centering prayer. So anyway, we'll talk more about this next time, the 5 types of thoughts. If you are new, please hit like and subscribe. I do want to thank you for being here. Don't forget the other channel at JPW Ministries. And like I said, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.